Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a source material that's, well, it's unlike anything we've really unpacked before.
It really is. This isn't your typical strategy document or, a scientific paper.
Not at all. It's called Excerpts from the Floating Island of Lost Thoughts.
And it's designed for a very specific kind of person, the one who's wide awake at, say, 3 a.m. Your body is tired, but your mind is just locked in a loop.
Oh, that high-speed loop. Old conversations, things you have to do tomorrow, little worries.
Exactly. And our mission today is to treat this narrative less like a bedtime story and more like an architectural blueprint.
A blueprint for cognitive load management. We want to pull out the structure, the actual mechanisms this island uses to categorize and neutralize thoughts so you can get some rest.
And the entry requirements are so important here. You can only get to the island when you're exhausted, but your mind is still sprinting.
And the one rule.
The one absolute rule is you have to stop trying to solve anything. You have to willingly give up that urge to problem solve. If you don't, the whole system just, it doesn't work.
That initial surrender, that's maybe the hardest part for a lot of us. But if you do that, the journey starts with the gateway. The source describes a secret door. It appears near the floor as just a thin line of soft light, outlined in gold, and it's sort of shimmering gently.
And what's really important is how you're invited in. It's not a sudden, jarring thing. The entry cues are soft.
A polite knocking sound.
Yeah, like a fingertip on wood or a page is rustling. It's meant to make you curious, not alarmed. If the gateway felt like some kind of emergency exit, it would just feed the anxiety you're trying to escape.
That makes a lot of sense. The mind's already on high alert, so the entry has to be a gentle invitation, not a shock.
Right.
And once you're through that door, you find this spiraling staircase made of light. It's described as solid, but not cold or hard. It seems to go up and down at the same time.
And this staircase is really the de-escalation phase. This is before any of the real cognitive work starts. Notice the sensory details.
There's a cool breeze.
A peaceful one, yeah. It carries the smell of rain on warm ground, old paper, clean cotton, all these very tranquil, grounding scents.
And here's the mechanism that I found so profound. As you walk up, the staircase is gently unmade behind you. Each step glows, and then it just fades.
I think this is critical. It directly addresses one of the main reasons for sleepless anxiety, which is that urge to backtrack, to rethink something you did or said.
To relitigate the day.
Exactly. If the staircase was still there, your mind would feel like it could walk back down into the worry.
But you can't. You can't physically return to that state of anxiety.
Right.
The break from the immediate past is total. You're forced to move forward onto the island.
And that's it. It removes the cognitive energy you'd spend on regret or second guessing. The narrative even says there's an immediate physical effect.
Shoulders loosen, the jaw softens.
And the running footsteps in your mind slow down to a quiet walk. The architecture itself is driving a physiological change.
So after this forced calming journey, you arrive. You're at the floating island, and it's resting in the night sky. The edges curve down softly, like the rounded corner of a pillow. The text is very clear. There is no place to fall.
It's an environment of total safety. The stars are described as distant lanterns breathing slowly. Everything is designed to soothe.
And that safety makes it okay to meet the guide, the keeper of lost
The
thoughts.
keeper, yeah, cloaked in the color of early dawn. And their job is so specific. It's to hold thoughts that are too tired to stay awake in your mind.
They aren't there to fix the thoughts.
No, not at all. Or to judge them. They're just taking custody of them. And that act alone, that simple handoff, shifts the burden away from you.
So now we get to the island's ecosystem, how it classifies thoughts. This part is vital.
It is, because the island doesn't treat, say, a forgotten grocery list the same way it treats deep existential dread.
It maps out three really distinct categories. Let's start with the lowest priority ones, the unfinished thoughts.
Little memories, yeah.
These are tiny specks of light, like dandelion seeds made of memory. Glowing sketches of ideas or people you meant to call. Why are they just allowed to drift around?
Because they don't have any real gravitational pull. They're not threatening. They're just mental residue. By making them visible as little glowing specks, the system acknowledges them, but their movement, just drifting, tells your mind they're not urgent.
Okay, so they're waiting for retrieval but don't need action right now.
Exactly. Now contrast that with the gentle thoughts.
These are the good ones. Shared laughter, a nice view, a sentence from a book. And they're in a grove of blue glowing trees hanging in little glass orbs.
These spots already know how to rest. They're contained and separated because they aren't demanding any processing power. They're your mind's moments of peace.
So by putting them in a beautiful grove, the island is signaling that not all old thoughts are burdens. Some are actually assets that are already safely stored.
That separation is brilliant. It stops your mind from just lumping every single lingering thought into one big anxious pile.
But then you have the real problem. The reason you came to the island in the first place. The noisy ones.
The heavy worries. These are the active threats to rest. They show up as light gray clouds moving slowly, and inside them are these shimmering images.
A to-do list. A difficult conversation.
A clock pointing at an hour you're afraid of. These are the things that are actively fighting that surrender we talked about at the beginning.
Which brings us to the island's core mechanism for dealing with them. The pool of letting go.
Right. It's described as wide, shallow, and still as glass. It reflects the stars, and it reflects the worries floating above it.
It's a mirror. It makes you look at the worry, but in a calm context.
And what the keeper says here is the absolute key. The thoughts are not being thrown away. They're given a place to rest where they can't tug on you anymore.
It's validation without retention. I do wonder, though, how effective is this if the worry isn't just, I forgot an email, but something really big?
That's a fair question. I think the source is designed more for that mental static that gets amplified by fatigue, maybe less so for, acute clinical anxiety, but the power is in the method of dissolution.
Okay, tell me about that.
The worry cloud is guided down to the water, and it melts. It dissolves like sugar in warm tea.
Ah, the sugar metaphor. Why that specific image?
Because sugar dissolving in tea is a gentle, irreversible process. It doesn't explode, it just becomes part of the medium. The water absorbs the worry. Psychologically, this is the act of externalization.
You've given the worry a physical, external place to be.
Right, you've put it outside of your own head and then watched it break down in a controlled, non-destructive way. Once it's in the pool, it's not in your mind anymore.
And the promise that comes with this is that the thought will be there in the morning, but it'll be smaller and smoother.
Because, as the keeper says, thoughts shrink when you stop pushing against them. The urgency is gone. You don't have to mentally grip it all night.
And there's a physical release that comes with this.
A somatic release, yeah. As the worries dissolve, your body feels a little heavier in a good way. Your shoulders sink. Those tiny muscles in your face finally loosen up. The mind registers the task is done and signals the body to relax.
So once the immediate heavy anxieties are dealt with, the island has to tackle the future. And for that, there's the Hall of Tomorrows.
This is so crucial because so many sleepless nights are just us trying to pre-live the next day.
The hall is made of something like stone, but it shines like the inside of a seashell. And its purpose is just to help you see how small tomorrow really is from far away.
And what's inside is fascinating. It's filled with what it calls the wind chimes of potential.
Hundreds of tiny chimes made of colored glass, and each one has a faint picture of a future moment, a conversation, a finished task.
It's a mechanism of cognitive distancing. By breaking tomorrow down into hundreds of these tiny separate glass shards, it forces your mind to stop seeing it as one big, overwhelming block of doom.
And the sound is key. They barely touch, making just the softest ting or shh.
Like distant rain on a strong roof. It's acknowledging all those future tasks, but it's muffling them. It's turning the volume way, way down.
Which leads to the big insight here. Our anxious minds pretend we have to live all of tomorrow, tonight.
But the keeper lays down the definitive boundary. The future can only arrive one moment at a time, and tonight, none of these moments are your job.
That is the ultimate permission slip for rest. Your only job right now is to rest. The future is quarantined. The present worries are dissolved.
And with all that cognitive clutter managed, the island moves into the final phase, the actual drift into sleep.
This happens in a sheltered hollow, like a nest. The bed is made of that same soft, springy island material, and it accepts your weight with a quiet sigh.
The narrative then walks you through this checklist of physical sinking. Your head sinks, neck is perfectly supported.
Arms feel heavy and distant. Legs stretch out, they stop needing to fidget. It's a wave of warm heaviness.
It's the full surrender to gravity and fatigue, and the keeper's final reassurance really brings it all home. The island will remember them for you.
That's the guarantee. The show is over for the night. The eyelids can get heavy naturally, like a curtain closing on a play that ended when it needed to.
And you don't even have to walk back. The island itself just glides quietly, like a cloud that forgot to hurry, bringing you back home until the island bed and your own bed become one.
It's a seamless drift into unconsciousness.
So if you step back and look at the whole blueprint, it's this really elegant 3-step routine for mental overload.
First, de-escalation of sensory input with the staircase.
Second, the externalization of your immediate burdens with the pool.
And third, the radical distancing of all your future responsibilities in the Hall of Tomorrows.
And the source says the effect is that you wake up feeling, you might not remember the trip clearly, but you feel a little lighter, a little calmer, a little more ready.
The mental work was done for you externally while your body finally got to rest. It's just a compelling case for using structured metaphor to get some psychological distance.
And the source confirms the island will always be waiting for you, which makes us think about, well, customization.
Okay. So here's a final thought for you to take with you. If you could design one new room or mechanism for this island based on the specific kind of thought you get stuck on, what would it be? Maybe it's for repetitive arguments or that need to mentally fact-check everything you heard that day. What would your mechanism look like and how would it manage that specific mental clutter? Something to ponder as you look for your own island tonight.